Hi guys, let life flow, Eva Józefowicz. So as always, I'm here to share with you some thoughts and experiences of life and let it flow. So recently, in the past weekend, I went out with my boyfriend to spend 3 days, doing sport, being in nature. It was a time where I really felt that it's a way of me getting kind of reset, charging my battery in order to be more active in my daily work with you, but as well here creating content and so on. So there was a moment of me of kind of again I don't know how to call it, let's call it aha moment. And actually I was wanting to share it with you, well, not straight away, but in the time where I was in Steiermark, in Austria, in Austrian mountains. But then I felt, well, on one side I would have appreciated because the area was beautiful. On the other side I felt it's still a moment of me to stay with all of this and enjoy the nature in silence. So I'm back on my sofa, not a beautiful background. Maybe one day I'll be able to edit my videos better so I can put some mountains at the back. I will do some advertisement because if you are interested in some pictures or kind of, countryside things, there is still as well my Instagram where I'm sharing with you pics and sometimes short movies, but more in this visual way of sharing rather than talking. On one day we were climbing, and I do have a fear, or there is a fear inside me, or my mind is creating this fear, whatever we want to call it, but let's call it simple. Let's call it, I do have a fear for high and for when there is a very small road and the cliff is really sharp and you look down as well when it's sharp but the space is very open. I'm getting dizzy, my heart is reacting very fast to this. I'm sweaty, I'm starting to be like losing a little bit control of my body. So let's call it, well, I'm not sure if it's a panic attack, but could be a step before. For sure, a high level of uncomfort. So actually there will be two stories. So recently, so on the previous weekend, we were climbing. So we checked the tour, we knew. My boyfriend is very experienced here, and anyway he's the opposite of me, as I wrote recently on the page. So really, the more risk the more fun. Me, I'm rather the more risk the more difficulties. And we are of course still trying to enjoy the time together, inspiring ourselves in both sides. So me holding him a bit that he's not going too far, and him encouraging me to put step more out of my comfort. And when we were climbing, so what we knew, because we look the map already, there was we started at the high of 800, and there was the top at 1600, which we supposed to reach within not even 4 kilometers, which is very short for this change of attitude. Means it will be very steep. The way was in forest, so I was very comfortable and I felt really blessed. I like to do effort, I like to be in nature. I really, I was even collecting some parts of the forest. I'm doing a kind of this is my stuff, kind of ritual, making a bath for my stone, but don't be scared about this. You don't need to do it. It's just my kind of, other part of me. So, really in love in the nature, in the forest. And then we came to the point where the path we were following started to be, kind of, more arrow and thinner and really. And at some point, but there was still, a lot of trees, so you feel it, but you don't feel it. And at one point, really in one curve, the path was really like this, and there was nothing. Well, there was nothing. Maybe it was not for sure a wall like this, but let's say rolling into this would not be a pleasure. Or like Adele was saying, really it would be rolling into deep. And I got kind of, I started to notice, so I stopped basically, and I looked. My boyfriend was already on the other side, but he stopped and he said, okay, I see you in kind of, you know, hesitation, discomfort. Remember, I'm here, so really giving me a support. We can go back. And here I need to switch off to the past story, just to tell you that it already happened to me. Actually, we were not so far from the top as well, and I got this kind of feeling, and I did not reach the top. So he went to reach the top, and I was really sitting, holding to the stone and saying, okay, I'm not moving, and then going really deep, because I was at the stage where I listened to my heart and I felt simply not ready. And that's okay. It's an experience. And at this stage, I was, you know, already recognizing the signs in my body. And then I said, okay, so what my mind is telling me, you know, kind of like, because of course, body is sending a signal to your mind, and mind is really reacting very fast. So my mind was really, you know, first of all, okay, it's narrow, you can fall, you know, all that stuff. Then like in life, even if you are passing this path, you don't know what's after the other corner. It's not that it's finished, you know. It's exactly like the discussion on the video with karma, you know. You are still climbing, you are reaching the top, then you go down, and then there is another mountain. It's a journey that should still continue, you know. It's not to get somewhere. It's to make the journey and to enjoy and learn out of it. So, you know, the fear was starting to be more present and more present, because the mind was starting to put the spiral. However, the spiral, in a sense that when we are knowing the function of our mind, which is simply a basic instinct to make you survive, to protect you from any danger, and that is coming from, you know, such a long history of the human being, where we were living in a caves, coming outside to find something to eat, and, you know, there was a tiger at the corner, so what's more important, to get the food or to be the food of the tiger? When you know this, you stop to criticize the mind. Neither you are following it, you simply observe it. And you know, this is the moment where I did it. So I passed this corner, I passed it. I still did not feel comfortable, because the way was still like, you know, my boyfriend was saying, yeah, we are not so far from the top, but it's not a guarantee that this way will be better, or even that going down will be easier. So, you know, again, passing one thing is not excluding that the other will not be more difficult. So I was still in tension in my body. And then I observed my mind, how my mind, you know, tried to give me the worst scenarios in order to prepare me or to protect me, because this is his role. So I'm not judging the mind. It's my best friend, and as far as we are using the mind and not the mind is using us, he's becoming our friend. So my mind started, you know, like suddenly, because I did not tell you one more thing, that the weather condition was so, and there was actually much more snow as expected at this height, so the road was kind of still a bit slippery, or there was just snow a few days ago, so really, you know, kind of mushy, wet underground. And the weather was saying normally that there is a storm probability, but, you know, still in really like 5 hours, so we had time, but, you know, with the weather, it's like with plans, you don't know. So I was seeing my boyfriend rushing, and I knew that he's rushing because he wants us to reach the top, which will bring me in more comfortable situation, and in case if it's starting to rain, it's still easier to slip down rather to climb. But my mind was reacting, like, you know, suddenly the beautiful forest that was surrounding me started to be, you know, dark, you know, the wind was like making the sound, the trees, really interesting. But, you know, if you are not going into this and really starting to observe yourself, but a little bit like going out, it was like, okay, I know what you are trying to do. You are trying to warn me. You are trying to give me the worst perspective, that he's running because the storm will come, that he's in stress, that you know, there is a risk of slipping. that whatever, but still that's the moment where you can, you know, kind of like go out of your mind just for a second, not judging what is happening, saying, okay, I'm seeing this kind of variation. And now you are switching to the path of your heart. And path of the heart is really, it's not just to listen the heart. So first of all, yes, because it's not about pushing yourself because it should be done or because you need to reach the top. Everything is okay as it is. So I ask my heart and my own, you know, kind of comfort inside. Am I ready? Do I really want to reach the top? Do I really want to continue? Because if not, it's okay. And I want to remind you that before I took this step and I don't regret it. It was okay, and at that stage I was not ready to reach this other top. I reached as high as I was able. But this time I was feeling like it changed a lot in me, in how I'm seeing things, and having this kind of, you know, trust in the voice of my heart, which was telling me, now you are ready. You are ready, go girl. Universe is with you, nothing can happen. I mean, of course, still keeping the mind, so, you know, it's not about, you know, to through the mind and jump like crazy, because then, yes, something will happen. So it's kind of collecting first the inner voice of that you are ready to do something, and of course take this mountain trip or this obstacle as just, you know, a story that may relay in any kind of event in your life that you are afraid of, or where are you still not doing the step, or maybe thinking about doing the step. Taking this, you know, experience from past that showed me that, okay, I did already, you know, a lot, and at some stage I stay and went down without reaching a top. Having more confidence that now it's my time. You know, it's never too late, it's never too fast, it's always as it is, at your tempo, at your time. So it was my time to reach the top. I felt really, you know, combining this power coming from the heart and the advisory coming from the mind. I really felt like, you know, in a bubble, really like, you know, yeah, being really protected and guided by myself. And it gave me as well a kind of hint that, you know, when we are on this hard path, because I reached the top and the tour was beautiful, and after it was just, you know, even the weather at the end changed. There was absolutely no storm, and with every hour, normally it should have been worse, it was better and more sunny, and all the landscape and the way down was as well 10 times easier as we thought it will be. So this may as well happen, a nice surprise, and a beautiful day, and yeah, great recharge, but as well kind of, you know, a surrender in a sense that on one side you are still, you know, steering the boat, holding the wheel, but accepting that sometimes the direction may go in a different way, that life will maybe put a wave which will, you know, put your boat on the other course, which is fine. In this case it could have been as well, you know, accepting, okay, holding the stone and then simply going down because you are not ready, or you know, feeling that it's your time to continue the journey. And you know, if you are surrendering to whatever is happening, and you know, getting rid of kind of resistance, that it's not as it should be, or I should not be in this discomfort anymore because I already did the other mountain and I know that it was like this, and I went down, so afterwards I was thinking, okay, maybe, you know, I could have reached the top, so now why I'm, you know, kind of passing again to this period, I thought I'm already over it. So there was no resistance in me, not questioning. There was a full surrender of whatever it was happening, to my mind, to the situation, to my heart, completely surrender with no judgment. And then, you know, thinking, okay, but maybe this obstacle, exactly this way that supposed to be, according to the description, much wider and not so steep and not so dangerous, because it was said that it's not required any technique, and I would say that at least medium technique was required, was my opportunity. Was not to make me a harm. It was my opportunity to finally go over it, to see that I can do much more than I was expecting. That I can reach the top, that I can afterwards even collect, all those bonuses, the beautiful weather, to see, how mind is creating sometimes the illusion, of course, to protect. So let's do not reject the mind. Let's take just the most important steps, which are maybe useful, because, for instance, being too fast or running and not looking under my feet, I could have slipped down. So we cannot reject this part, but combining it together and seeing that those kind of obstacles may be really an opportunity. So maybe really changing sometimes even your course, or giving you things in life that are completely different and unexpected, or not as you want it or as you wish for, because my wish was that it's a good way, not too complicated, and all that stuff. It's giving you an opportunity really to grow. It's changing your course, but like Christoph Kolumn, his mindset and his wish was simply to find a shortcut to transport new goods from so-called Orient. And at the end, life put his course a bit differently, and he discovered America. He got a much bigger gift as we expected. So maybe reaching a top is not the right comparison of discovering America, but it was a big day for me. And maybe next time for you, when you feel discomfort, when you feel rejection, when you feel resistance, when you feel fear, try to connect, yourself with your heart, observing your mind, seeing how this obstacle can bring you higher, and with kind of courage and curiosity, discover your opportunity instead of this, and find your new America, or who knows what is there. So that's it. That's my outcome of the weekend. I wish you a beautiful week. New post is on the blog. New pictures are on Instagram. If you want, if you wish, be with me whenever which platform is comfortable for you. Thank you for taking your time. It's always precious for me. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.